Welcome back to the Barella Global YouTube channel. My name is Kyle Barella, and I'm the managing attorney here at the firm. Today I want to talk to you about UK police cautions and their potential impact on a US immigration visa application, whether it's a non-immigrant visa application or an immigrant visa application. In general, any sort of law enforcement history, any sort of negative law enforcement history, arrest, cautions, convictions, these could potentially impact one's ability to obtain a visa, as well as one's ability to enter the United States. But today I'm going to be specifically focused on UK police cautions and their impact on a US immigration visa application. So what is a UK police caution? Before I get into that, I just want to state that I do not practice UK law. I'm licensed in the United States and practice exclusively US immigration law. So I'm going to be talking about the impact of a UK police caution as it relates to US immigration. So for the definition of what a caution is, I've actually pulled this from the gov.uk website, which states that a caution is not a conviction. It is a warning for minor offenses. The example that they use is if one is caught spray painting a bus shelter. This would be something that the police could, instead of arresting someone and taking this to court, they could simply caution them. Again, it is a warning in the United Kingdom. It is not a conviction. It can be given to anyone 10 years of age or older in the UK. In order to receive a caution, one must admit to the offense and agree to receive the caution in lieu of prosecution by UK authorities. And how does US immigration look at police cautions in the United Kingdom? Well, the first thing I would say is that years ago, they viewed it the very same way that it was viewed in the UK, meaning it was simply a warning, not a conviction. However, for about the past decade, the views on cautions have changed in the context of US immigration law, and specifically for cautions received post-July 2008, where again, you must admit to the conduct, that they want to caution you for. And so when you get a caution, you sign a piece of paper admitting to that conduct. Well, because of that, in the context of a US visa application, US immigration officials, US immigration now look at that and as an admission of guilt. Therefore, a police caution received in the UK can have serious consequences on one's US visa application, whether it's a non-immigrant visa application or an immigrant visa application. What are those consequences potentially? Apart from having to disclose it on any visa application, which is a must, the worst potential impact could be that your caution renders you inadmissible to obtain a visa and inadmissible to travel to the United States, meaning you are not able to enter the United States unless you qualify for an exception or a waiver is available and you are granted a waiver. It can have serious consequences. So let's take an example of someone who has stolen something very insignificant, like a postcard from a shop, and they get caught. Well, the police in the UK are typically not going to want to arrest you for that and prosecute you, so they may caution you for petty theft. Well, again, even though it's a warning in the UK, if you're applying for a US visa and US immigration officials look at this caution for theft, well, theft is considered to be a crime involving moral turpitude, a CIMT. A CIMT, if you have a conviction for or admit to committing a CIMT, you are inadmissible. You are not able to travel to the US. You would require, if you don't qualify for an exception, you would require to be approved for a waiver of that inadmissibility. And in the context of an immigrant visa application, where the adjudication of waiver applications are taking months, this could really significantly delay your immigration to the United States. It also can delay a visa application in the non-immigrant visa context. If you're applying for a work visa and your employer expects you in the US, let's say 4-5 weeks after your non-immigrant visa approval, well, if you're inadmissible and you require a waiver, that's going to take about 6 additional months. So again, huge impact. Another one, that in the UK, they will often issue cautions for minor controlled substance violations for personal use. It's a caution for cannabis, caution for cocaine, MDMA, LSD, other drugs that again are for personal use. They'll often not prosecute those, but issue a caution. Well, that would make you inadmissible for a violation of a controlled substance under US immigration law. And in the immigrant visa application, it is extremely serious. Why? Because there is no waiver available for controlled substance violations apart from a very, very small amount of cannabis. So there are no waivers available for a controlled substance violation for cocaine in the immigrant visa. In the non-immigrant visa sphere, there is a waiver available for violation of controlled substance, not just for cannabis, but other controlled substances as well. But again, this just demonstrates how impactful a caution can be, potentially derailing one's entire immigration to the United States. So it's very important. If you have any law enforcement issue, whether it's an arrest, whether it's a caution or a conviction, to discuss this with your U.S. immigration lawyer if you are applying for a U.S. visa or you are looking to travel to the United States visa-free under the visa waiver program, because this caution could have serious consequences for your ESTA application or your visa application. Oftentimes, we have potential clients who will come to us and say, when we screen them, and we ask them, do you have any law enforcement issues, cautions, convictions? People will sometimes play it down. They say, well, yeah, it's not a big deal because in the UK, a caution is just a warning, but I received a caution for this. Well, it can be a big deal. Sometimes it can be a big deal. So it's very, very important that you take any law enforcement history, any encounter with law enforcement very serious when it comes to a U.S. visa application. And don't think that U.S. immigration officials aren't going to know about it simply because it's been stepped down or removed from your record. Again, let's look at an immigrant visa application. If you're a UK citizen or you live in the UK and you're applying for an immigrant visa within the United Kingdom, you will need to provide a copy of your UK police certificate as one of the requirements for the documentation to obtain an immigrant visa. And when you submit your police record, it's going to say one of a few things. Either it'll say no trace. If it says no trace, that means there's nothing on your record. That's good. It may list, a caution, or it may list a conviction. That, of course, you will know it's on your record. But if it's been stepped down or removed from your record, it will say no live trace. And that is an indication to U.S. immigration officials, especially the consular officers at the U.S. Embassy in London. They are very familiar with how cautions impact it. And they know that when your UK police certificate says no live trace, that something has been stepped down or removed from your record. And if you don't disclose it, if you're trying to hide it, well, you're opening the doors to even more problems, potentially misrepresentation, which is also an inadmissibility, a lifelong inadmissibility that would render you inadmissible from obtaining a visa and entering the United States unless a waiver was received. So cautions can impact one's immigrant or non-immigrant visa application significantly. I want to thank you for taking the time to view our YouTube channel. As always, we look forward to being your global partner in U.S. immigration. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay updated on our latest content.